I said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water.
What's up, everybody? We're back for the fourth episode of the Offscouring Odyssey, and today's guest, his name is Ty Whalen. He's a committed Princeton wrestler. And before I introduce our guest, I want to go over a few accomplishments he's already had to start the podcast going. So, career record in high school, 128 to 12. 2021 state champion, 2022 state finalist, 3-time state place winner, 3-time region champion, 3-time district champion, Fargo third place finisher, 2-time Super 32 placer, and then the last one, certified killer. I don't know why they put that on there, but what up, Ty? How you doing, bro?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Always, man. Dude, it's kind of, excuse my language, fucked up reading that because I'm sitting across from you and I'm taller, bigger than you, but I know at any given moment you can fuck me up almost. How is it knowing that, like, wherever you go, whenever you walk around, you can beat the shit out of someone?
Well, I mean, yeah, wrestling's definitely built that kind of confidence in me, definitely. I'm actually not much of a fighter, though. I don't go out and just brawl with kids because I don't want to get in trouble.
You seem like a nice, calm kid.
But, once it's wrestling, I mean, wrestling's different. I mean, it does seem like a fight to most people, but it's actually a lot more technical than what most people would think.
So, why wrestling? Is it like, to you, is it like a therapy outside the real world? Do you just like going in there, going to war with other guys? Like, what is it to you? Why wrestling out of all sports?
So I got into wrestling from my father. His whole family, he was brought up in wrestling, and I mean, he wasn't like that great at wrestling. He went to state to senior year, but yeah, 2 of my uncles wrestled in college, so I started at a really young age. I mean, my parents said I had very high energy as a young kid, so they put me in when I was 4 years old.
Good.
And I did a lot of sports, but wrestling was a challenge, and I love it. I love the grind, and that's kind of just what keeps me going. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely a therapy. Like, when you're wrestling for that 1-2 hour practice, your mind's blank. You're only thinking of wrestling. I love that.
Is it because it's you against you? It's not like a team sport? Do you like the fact that it's, no matter, at the end of the day, if you lose a match, if you win a match, it's all on you?
I love the accountability aspect of it.
Okay.
If I lose that match, it's not my coach's fault. It's not my teammates' fault. It's my fault. I mean, people like to blame the refs. I mean, maybe my coach could have yelled out something. But, at the end of the day, it's always your fault. You're in complete control, and I do love that because it's up to you. I don't like relying on others.
Yeah.
I like for it to only be me. And, yeah, I mean, when I go into that practice room, it's up to me to get the most out of everything. So I do love that.
Hey, man, fair enough. I give you props because when it's all on you, like you said, you can't really make excuses. It's you or you on the one end or the other. Now, listing out all the accomplishments you've had along the way, along your journey, at what age or like at what time did you realize that you were like sticking to wrestling? When you realized like, okay, maybe I have potential in this sport?
Yeah, so swimming used to be my main sport, I want to say 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. And then when I went to 6th grade, when I was in 6th grade, I went to the state tournament. And I watched a couple Clearview wrestlers did very well in the state tournament. We had state champs, state finalists, state fourth. And I was like, I want to do this. You know what I mean? So right after I saw that, I started going to the club. So I was actually kind of late. There's kids who are in the club 1st grade, like, for their whole life.
Yeah.
So I was kind of late to the game. But 7th, 8th grade, freshman year was, I was naturally good, but kids who wrestled in club, they were getting better. So it was kind of a slow start. I was taking a lot of losses 7th, 8th, 9th grade, like, on the national level. Local level, I did great.
Yeah.
But nationally it was tough. But I want to say when I really turned the corner in wrestling, and I'm like, I want to go D1. I want to be a state champ. When I really believed that I could do it was after my sophomore year and throughout COVID year. I mean, during COVID, it was my job. It was my job.
All COVID, you just trained, was in the gym every day?
Yeah. So I was actually lifting like twice a day. I was trying to get in the room. I mean, it was harder to wrestle because everyone was still scared of COVID, and wrestling's probably not the best.
Yeah, you're literally fighting with a guy.
Yeah, so you're sweating, bleeding on each other. I was trying to get in the room, but I was lifting twice a day. I was running with this one cross country runner who actually just won states like last week.
Now, does that help build your endurance and stamina up in the match?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, wrestling is brutal on the stamina aspect. It's actually really tough. Like wrestling is exhausting.
I'm sure there has, but there's been times where you puked just because the practices.
When I was in I want to say 7th, 8th grade. I was always going super hard, but I wasn't. The results weren't necessarily coming. But there were these Sunday workouts I would do when I was a kid, and I'd be yakking like every time.
And you enjoyed that?
I mean, it's just once it's done, yeah. Once it's done with, it's like, yeah, I just worked really hard, and
you must have been doing something right. Yeah,
definitely. But yeah, I mean, there's been many times where I've definitely.
So when you talk about how you lifted 2 times a day, you're lifting weights. What are you doing like during your workouts to where like you're not beating down your body to an extent, you're actually improving your body? Like, what are you doing in these workouts?
Yeah, so I mean, it was 2 different workouts a day. So I mean, sometimes one workout's just a running workout, but one of them was more like calisthenic oriented, and then the other was just lifting. And I mean, I would do my research, but yeah, lifting twice a day and working out twice a day might not be the best thing for your body, but it is more mental than what it makes you physical. Like, oh, I'm lifting twice a day. Half of my day is working out, and there's not many other people doing that.
No one.
So it is a lot more mental than physical. But I was a 113 pounder my sophomore year.
Okay.
Jumped up to 132 my junior year. And me being 132 doesn't mean I actually weigh 132. I shot up to 150 during COVID.
Kids got a cut, of course. Yeah. So like, what you walk around like 150ish, like when you're not like in season
right now?
Yeah.
I'm like 65, 70 right now.
Wow. Yeah. So how much do you technically cut?
Typically like it does depend because I do get a little big. Like I'm not like lean all year round because I do binge after the season's done, but I'm also lifting. But 15, 20 pounds are my normal cuts.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna ask you about damn, what did you just bring up? I lost my train of thought. I'm going to ask you about something later on. Oh, about the binge eating. I'm going to ask you what you eat right after you cut. But when you look at everything you've done, what felt the best in the moment? What feeling felt the best? Because you won a state title your junior year. In my eyes, that might be the biggest. But what do you think is was the best moment and accomplishment?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the state championship.
What went through your head when you won that?
You know, it was just kind of a relief, honestly. You know, I was super exciting, but I did believe that I was going to win. You know, I believed it every day. I told myself every day that I was going to win. But, yeah, it was just a relief. You know, I was super happy to just get it done. It's something that, you know, it's just kind of been preached on you forever as a kid. Like, oh, high school state champ. And, you know, to get that done it was super exciting. And, you know, I did, like, I celebrate after, not like a crazy celebration, but I definitely, like, was hyped. And the element of surprise, I think, is what kind of brings those out. But I wasn't necessarily surprised. I was just relieved. It was just nice.
Because you knew that you put in so much work that you deserved to be there. So there wasn't, like, a shock that you were there. Mm-hmm. You were just like, let's finish the job almost?
Yeah. I mean, my coaches always, you know, believed in me, and they always told me that I could do it. You know, just kind of getting the job done. I mean, you can practice all you want, but performing on that day at that time, that's when it comes down to it.
Now, when you are in the moment under all this pressure and so many like scenarios, what's your mindset going into it? Like when you have to wrestle all these guys, to you, they're probably just another body on your hit list. But like, what's your mindset going into each match and approaching each of these situations where you're under so much pressure? Because I've heard stories about you before where like, even when people are like going up to the scale, you're already under the weight and you're still like with 2 hoodies on, strapped, headgear, you're still almost like practicing, but you're under the weight and it's just for your mind, right? Like what goes on your head?
Yeah, so before weighing things, sometimes I do have to get my weight down, but I like to get a practice in for my match because my match is only, I mean, it depends if I pin him or not, but sometimes my match is only 2 minutes. So while I'm getting a 2-minute match, there's kids on the other side of the state, they're getting a 2-hour practice in. So I like to get that practice in, but before the match, like 5-10 minutes before the match, a lot of it's different for many kids. Some guys are going out there, I'm going to kill this guy. I want to break his head apart. I'm a little different, just the way I've trained and stuff. I'm just thinking, what moves am I going to hit? How am I going to, I got to make sure I move my hands and feet, just kind of breaking it down into just the technique of it and just focusing on that.
you try to stay almost like 5 steps ahead, like chess.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
always like prepared for the next move.
Right, definitely. And it's just focusing on getting to your stuff, not really worried about what the other guy's doing, just staying level headed because you can really psych yourself out, especially in a 1v1 sport.
Always. Now, this is something I wanted to bring up. Senior year, you made it to state final, and I should have researched this before. In the state championships, like that tournament at the end,
Mhm.
you had a record of like 60 something to 2. Was it like point wise?
Yeah.
And then what happened in that final match? Like, now I'm saying this in the most respectful way.
Yeah,
'Cause
no. We can,
when you go into that final match, you murdered these kids in points
Mhm.
wise, pinned them, whatever you did to them, and you won the state championship the year prior. What do you think happened that final match?
right. So I was having, a great season. I mean, beginning of postseason, I had a little, nothing serious at all. I had a little injury on my hamstring. So, this was day after districts had happened. So that was 2 weeks before states. And, I kind of had to adjust my training a little bit. I was out of the groove a little bit. And I don't want to say that's because I lost. That's just one of the things. So I was kind of getting through that. I had to stretch before my matches after. I'm focused on that. And, the whole tournament was going well. I was tech falling everyone, and that's not necessarily easy to do, especially in the state tournament. And,
Yeah, when I saw that record and the tech fouls, like whatever you just said, it was
Yeah.
kind of mesmerizing, bro.
right. So, everything's kind of going my way, throughout the whole state tour. I'm not getting threatened in any position. Everything's going my way. And then state finals day, it's a new day. I just weighed in for the last time. I'm eating. And I'm eating pretty good, but I'm good.
Mhm.
And I thought my head was in the right place before. Um, but I have fun before my match. I'm not like serious. I
Yeah.
like listening to fun music, having
You're
a
just
good
living
time,
the
hanging
moment.
out with my friends.
Yeah.
Enjoying the moment, definitely confident. I every time I go out there, I think I'm gonna whoop my guy. I will never say it out loud before, but
Yeah.
in my mind, I don't care who it is. I do think I can win. And I remember I walked out. There's lots of people there, all my friends, family, and the spotlight's on me. And before when you're walking out, you shouldn't be thinking. I was thinking about like my leg. I don't know why.
That's all you thought about?
I'm walking and I like the spotlight's on me and I'm like, I wish I could run right now or something. Like kind of like that shouldn't be where your head's at, and that's kind of what was on my mind.
Now,
So I wasn't necessarily focused.
was this on your mind the whole tournament, or was it just the state final match?
I think with I mean it was because I had to stretch before, so it was on my mind. But it's every wrestler has injuries. I think that's something I've learned. Like there, Spencer Lee won a national title with 2 torn ACL. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, I saw that.
a lot of people can do it. So I won't. That's not an excuse for losing. I think my excuse for losing is my focus. I wasn't in the right place, and the second that whistle blown, I almost got a takedown or something. I was taking guys down with ease, honestly, throughout the whole tournament. Then this guy, he's coming back at me.
Yeah.
I haven't had that for a couple of weeks. I hadn't had a guy come back at me and be tough enough to come at me. A lot of the guys that I wrestled were kind of intimidated. So
This guy was not intimidated at all by you.
I started hyperventilating a little bit, and I got tired. I don't necessarily get tired a lot, and I just what was going through my mind is, oh my gosh, am I really about to lose the state finals? And that's in the first period. I'm looking at my parents, my coaches. Their faces are already looking just worried.
Really?
You know what I mean? Like I'll never forget it. Like I looked up at my parents. This is like the first period, and they were just worried, and that stressed me out. And I'm like, I'm not focused. I should have been okay. What move am I going to hit next? Be relaxed. I wasn't composed
Okay.
because I didn't have a stressful match. 3-2 matches are stressful because they're 1 point. Like you have to hold on. In the first 30 seconds, I'd be up 5-0 every match, and now that I'm not, and on such a big stage, like it's different, and it's you can only learn from it. And I mean, losing the state finals, it like still, I think it's gonna haunt me for a while. Like every time I think about it every day, and it's like it's my fault. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like that's why I love the sport, though. I mean, there's a good part. I mean, I truly do believe I worked as hard as I could, did everything every day. I did for a 4-month period. I was doing everything right, and I don't necessarily have regrets on that aspect because knowing that you did everything you could is somewhat of a good feeling because if not, I would have some regret.
Yeah.
There's not much regret on what I did months in advance. And my coaches told me that. But yeah, no, it was brutal. It was brutal. I never went. Fortunately, that was one of the thankfully that's one of the hardest things that I've had to deal with in my life.
Was there just that final match?
Yeah, just everything. Yeah, just yeah.
What was out of all of that? What was the biggest lesson you took from that final match?
I think just keeping composure. I mean, I always do preach just focusing on just the wrestling and technique, but I didn't. I mean, when it really mattered, I didn't. So yeah, and I was really killing it through the tournament, and everyone's like, stay focused. You still got one more, and I do think I have a great mindset when it comes to wrestling, but just it wasn't there when I needed it the most. So.
Hey man, I love that you're 100% truthful from there. When you talk about how you really do focus on technique, when you go against these guys, like for example, Richie Greengrow, I know you know who he is. Mm-hmm. That kid is strong. Yeah. I remember when I went to St. Augustine, he goes there. Freshman year, I would see this guy like flat bench press 80s, like dips with a 45 and 25. What do you think the biggest difference is between like I don't know this kid like that, so I don't know if he's also like technical like you. But what's the biggest difference between just being like that strong and actually having the technique? Right. What do you think's personally better, and what's the difference?
Well, Richie's actually one of my friends. We were practicing a week before we wrestled.
Okay.
It's like so we're actually good friends. And I think the difference in wrestling. I mean, I'm also I'm pretty strong for my weight and pretty big for my weight. But something that's different is just the way you're able to move. Using your whole body. Like, and I'm not saying Richie doesn't, because he does. He's very good.
Do you think it's a mobility thing?
Mm-hmm, definitely. Yeah. You can't just use just your arms. It's being able to move your arms and legs, incorporating, there's things called fakes, like fake shots, and then snap downs, and just incorporating kind of your whole body and faking them out. Because there is some trickery to kind of get them off balance and then get to work. So there are guys that I've wrestled that are not as strong as me, but have been able to beat me. And that's just the way they're able to move their entire body and kind of just fake you out.
Okay. A thing that relates to this is grip. I want to. You guys have crazy grip strength, right? And like wrapping. Like, how much does that have a play in wrestling as well?
Because I work on grip probably like twice a week. I mean, I do tons of pull-ups, deadlifting. I mean, that definitely helps.
That's what you do for grip? What do you...
But yeah, so I just get a barbell and I just do the little wrist rolls. But and in just wrestling, holding on to someone's wrist at practice for a while. Mm-hmm. I'll walk off the mat and I can't feel my arms, and that makes it a little stronger. Like, I mean, grip's huge. I mean, my tech falls came from a tilt.
A tilt?
Yeah, and a tilt is like basically grabbing someone's wrist and kind of turning them over with it. And I hold on to guy. Once I get a guy's wrist, like they're not getting the wrist back, because I have a good grip. Because I work on it, and it's huge. Like, I feel like if there's some people, if they just worked on grip and not even any part of their body, they'd succeed.
Well, yeah, because I went to school and I remember this one wrestler grabbed my wrist.
Yeah,
and he's skinny twig, Jimmy. If you're listening, screw you. But this kid got on my wrist, and I was like, "Fuck!" Like I couldn't imagine how strong his grip actually was. I just find it intriguing how much grip plays a factor in wrestling. It's interesting to me. But leading out of all the accomplishments, you're committed to Princeton, correct? Yes. And what are you going to Princeton for, major-wise?
Economics.
Why economics?
So that is the only business-oriented major that they have.
Okay.
So that's kind of the route I'm going, and then certificate.
All right, fair enough, man. That's smart guy. Out of all the schools, why did you choose Princeton Wrestling? What went through your head with the school choosing?
So during the commitment process, there was a lot of schools that I was looking at, and I did very well on my SATs, and I got good grades. So it was kind of hard to give up an opportunity like an Ivy League school.
Yeah, great school.
Because it's really hard to get into those schools, and I want wrestling. Wrestling will last me a couple years. Maybe if I do decide to go world or Olympic route, I'll wrestle for 4 more years after college. But I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case. I might just wrestle 4 or 5 years in college, hopefully win a national title. And
any thoughts on no thoughts on like UFC, MMA?
Not necessarily.
Nah,
I don't really
nah.
follow it. I heard you talking about it in the podcast. So
Really? You're not a big UFC guy at all?
I'm not. I mean, I think it's very cool, but I don't necessarily follow it.
Wow, that's interesting. So I was gonna say, bro, sponsor you. Offscouring Odyssey, or MMA guy, UFC fighter. I don't know, but that's why you chose Princeton.
So yeah, I knew that wrestling does come to an end. Even if I do continue to go the route, it ends when I'm 30. Maybe, but I don't see myself going that far. And I kind of just wanted wrestling to take me to something further than just wrestling. And I do believe that Princeton will provide me with education that could lead me to great things.
Hey man, yeah, you're doing it. You're doing it. Yeah, all respect to you, brother.
So yeah, and then the difference between the other Ivy Leagues, I looked at UPenn, I looked at Brown, I looked at Harvard.
Really, Harvard?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the main difference was just I love the coaching staff at Princeton. When I talk to them, and I feel like you kind of give an energy off that like it pumps you up. I feel like
I appreciate that.
I feel like there's some people you talk to, like you feel motivated after even just a simple conversation. And I think that's like kind of a trait I have. People like told me like you feel motivated after talking to them, and I just love the energy that they bring constantly.
Yeah.
Like it's not just for show. Like I've seen them without when like there's not parents there or anything. You know what I mean? Like they bring an energy.
You can tell there's an ambition behind their voice that they want to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, I love it. So that's why you chose Princeton out of all the schools. Now, relating back to how you approach wrestling and training wise, how much of a play does nutrition come into effect? Because I understand you guys have to cut an extreme amount of weight. But what food? Regarding off season, we'll get to off season after this. But in season and training, right before you're going to cut, I would say, is there anything specific you do for nutrition wise? What's that? What do you do?
Follow a very strict diet. So the way I look at cutting weight is you want to basically minimize the fat that you have and maximize the strength you have. And there is some dehydration that's involved with that, but when you're in season, you have to make weight like once a week. So the crazy dehydration stuff that doesn't really go on as much. But I kind of follow a low carb diet. I mean, my worst cut was probably my sophomore year. I went 113, dropped down from like 130. Which it's harder when you're smaller to lose.
Yeah, because you don't have as much to lose.
That I was pretty much fully keto diet, but and yeah, I mean I was miserable.
Yeah,
I get miserable. But yeah, it's just so basically like a normal day when I'm cutting weight is I go to school, I don't eat in the morning. I will basically intermittent fast.
I do that every day.
Like I know what you mean. Lunchtime because I'm not even hungry in the morning.
Yeah.
And the second you eat something in the morning, you get hungrier.
You think so?
Yeah. The second I eat one thing, I'm going.
You want to eat?
I want to eat more. I'm not like satisfied. I want more.
Fair enough.
So it kind of pushes off the calories, and then I eat, and then I practice, and then I have a dinner, and that's it. I mean, there's sometimes I'll throw a treat here and there. You know what I mean? Like a piece of chocolate at the end of my meal because I just need that richness to kind of like help finish me off.
And this is like in the beginning of the season, right? Or like when you're leading up to the cut. Yeah. You would say? I mean, this is kind of also during the cut. I mean, so what do you do when you're in the cut specifically? Like, do you do that same thing, or do you just not eat at all?
So I never go a day without eating.
Okay.
You could do it, and like, believe it or not, you will have energy. Like people don't think you do, but like you do. There are in season. Like I do try to eat every day. I'd rather eat and drink water and then work out before my match.
Okay.
So that I'm not just laying around. You know what I mean? It's actually better to eat. So you have energy and then get a workout in because that workout's not only getting your weight off, you're getting better.
Well, aren't you also like burning like 2,000 calories in a wrestling workout?
Probably, yeah.
Someone said an absurd number like that to me before. I thought it was crazy how many calories you guys burn.
Yeah, you definitely burn a lot of calories. Yeah. It just depends how long the practice is. I've never like tracked it with a watch or anything, but yeah, a lot. And there's practices where I walk out losing 5 pounds. My second scale lose 5 pounds. Yeah.
What you said you had cutting stories, right?
Yeah.
What do you got for us, man? I love to hear it.
113 was definitely brutal. I mean, I have disgusting pictures and stuff, but one of my craziest was I went to Fargo, which I got third at last year. I went 138, and right now I'm like 165, 170. So this was like July. I show up there and I'm 9 over the day before.
Wow.
So
You got to lose 9 pounds in one day?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I worked out 3 times the one day. And during the workouts, you can't cut out water right away because the more water you drink, the more water you lose during your workouts. I don't know if you feel that when you work out sometimes, like, oh, if I drink a lot of water,
Yeah, you're
before these
sweating a
workouts,
lot
I'm
more.
sweating a lot, and I love sweating. So I don't cut out water, but those for those cuts, it's hard because that was July, so we had 4th of July the week before. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
we're
I
having
know
a
what you
good
mean.
time, and yeah, no, that was really hard because during season it's easy because you have to make weight once a week, so you're in check week by week. I haven't weighed in 3 months, so it's like
Oh God.
I have to, it's hard. So I waited a little last minute, but the thing was I was 9 over, and I was also shredded. It didn't seem like there was much weight left to
So
lose.
did you feel like hell, man?
Yeah,
Like that whole day?
You don't sleep. It's hard to sleep when you're that thirsty.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I worked out 3 times, woke up, had to work out again, went in the sauna right before weigh-ins, got to weigh-ins, had to run outside before weigh-ins, and we're using sauna. I mean, you're not allowed, but we're using some trash bags and stuff. We have this thing called Sweet Sweat. You rub it all over your body. It just opens up your sweat pores.
Sweet sweat? Never heard of that.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
all right.
it's nice. It's some
Yeah.
good stuff. And yeah, no, that was 9 over, and then fortunately we had a night after weigh-in, so it's hard to wrestle like an hour and a half after you weigh in, like because you're still dead.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So I had a night. Like I slept, I ate.
That's
everything.
good. Then you had some time to prepare, I guess,
So
right?
basically, that night I gained around 10 pounds back up. Yeah. So then I wrestled the next day. Wrestled a couple matches. I make it to the round of 16, which is the next day.
Okay.
But for the next day, I have to make weight again. So I get off the scale after my last match. After your last match, you get a good win. In any other sport, you get a good win. You go out to eat. You get to have a good time.
Yeah.
I don't even get to have a sip of water after my last match. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm after my last match, and I did this at States too. I'm throwing on my sweats and I'm running. You know what I mean?
Right after your match?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I mean. All wrestlers do it. Yeah.
Has there already been a time where you've just passed out?
No, but this night's the closest I felt to death.
Okay, God,
so
man,
that night, basically, I'm like 7 over. So all the coaches, I'm the most over out of anyone, and I go back to the hotel, throw on a bunch of sweats and stuff. We run outside. I only worked out for 45 minutes. I ran outside. I went on a bike. I went on a treadmill, elliptical, jump rope. 45 minutes. Head in the sauna. I lost 6 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
In 45 minutes. Just after all that, you lost 6 pounds?
And the reason why it's easier is because you drank water throughout the whole day.
Yeah.
So you do have it to lose.
So some of it's water weight. Yeah,
right.
So it's easy.
So then I'm 0.4 over still. Go back to my hotel. It's 12 o'clock at night. I have to wake up at 6 a.m. for weigh-ins. Wake up. I barely slept. I woke up at 4 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. Got to work out again. I didn't lose any weight in my sleep. So I'm 0.4 over. I'm back on the treadmill.
You know that's bad when you're not losing weight when you sleep.
Yeah. You got nothing left. So then basically I run on the treadmill. Then I have to get to weigh-ins on time, and then I have to run outside, and then I made weight right on the dot.
Wow!
And then I have to wrestle, like 2 hours after that. Now, and then I ended up winning my next 2 matches, and then I lost in the semis.
Now, when like you said, you were on the verge of death. Yeah. How do you actually fight when you're like that? Like, how do you wrestle and have the energy to do that when you can't even sleep or get up? You don't.
I think it has to do with the way I train.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I go to practice after hitting a leg day. You know what I mean? After hitting a leg day, it's hard. And those are the days that give me confidence. You know? Hitting leg day, going to practice. I work out a lot, and I think there's days where I've practiced hungry, thirsty. I've worked out many times, thirsty and hungry, and I know that I'm capable of doing it. So yeah, it's just
a lot of it has to come to your mindset then as well, right? I think all this training you're talking about, and it's all mental, that all builds your mindset.
It's very interesting. I talked to one of my friends, Hunter Gandy, about it, and it's crazy how kids kind of tire out in a 6-minute match because all of us are kind of we're in peak shape.
Yeah.
And how is it that we're getting tired in a 6-minute match? So I think a lot of it does have to come down to what's going on in the head. There's kids who can run really far, really fast, and they get tired in wrestling.
They'll be dead, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it does come how you kind of compose yourself. It's strategic and just in your mind. Yeah, just not freaking out and spazzing out, just staying calm.
Yeah, during the match, you have to preserve your like you said. People are almost you can't. They're breathing heavily after a match. Like, do you think it's like throughout the match, and the whole time you're thinking like you have to preserve like your energy the whole time?
Yeah, it's just kind of if you see yourself kind of spazzing out or getting sloppy, you gotta kind of like get yourself in check. You know what I mean? That one of the best wrestlers, Jordan Burroughs, every time he goes out of bounds, he'll like pull up his sock, and that's his cue. Like, all right, let's get back into the groove. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
kind of like little mental resets. Like sometimes kids will be in their stand and hop out of it and be like, all right, let's get back into the groove. So yeah, I mean, I would say mental rechecks, but it's just back to your question, just having the confidence in your training and just like knowing that you can do it. Even though you're feeling like that, it's a grind. You got to grind through it, and
You didn't do all
also
that for
knowing
nothing.
the other guys probably dealing with the same issues.
Yeah.
The other guys probably has their own issue, but typically I don't worry about the other guy, but you got to know they're most likely not living the 100% ideal situation.
Everyone's dead almost. Yeah, at that time.
And they might have an injury. Everyone has injuries. Everyone has their own thing going on.
Yeah. Now, when you, like you said, you don't really worry about the other person, right? Is there like one wrestler that you like when you go against, or like here we go, like here we go again? Like, is there one guy that like will grab your attention?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, I'd love to wrestle the kid who beat me in the state finals.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's kind of smaller, and I've gotten a lot bigger, so I really wanted to wrestle him again, but I don't know if I can physically make the weight class again. I think definitely that one. That's just one. It's not necessarily the right thing to do, but I definitely want that one back. I do believe that's a match. 9 out of 10 times I win. And it just happened to be in the state finals where I wrestled a very poor match. And that's another thing. I didn't wrestle great in that match. It wasn't like I wrestled great. It was just I didn't wrestle great. I did a lot of stupid things that I shouldn't have done because I was kind of spazzing out a little bit. But yeah, definitely that one.
Fair enough.
One of your boys probably Ryan Defoney.
Yes, I do know Ryan Defoney.
Yeah, I wrestled him my freshman year.
Like Ryan?
Yeah, no, I'm chilling. But actually, I wrestled in my freshman year. And, I was a little boy back then.
Man, you are a different.
He wrecked
human.
me.
Wrecked
me my freshman year. Wrecked me in the region finals.
Wow.
And it was finals. He killed me. And I remember, that one haunted me for a while. Like it's still like I can't really watch it. Yeah. And then I ended up wrestling him the next year, because I wanted that one back.
And you beat him?
Yeah, and those are you just want to get them. He actually injured defaulted, but
Oh, was it the shoulder thing? I heard about that.
I just remember that's just one of the situations. I just wanted to get those back. Those losses you want to go back because you kind of just want to prove it to yourself
that you can beat that guy.
And there's been many, because I've gotten so much better throughout the years. I think I've also matured a lot through the years, like physically. Because I was like a child.
Yeah.
So,
if you see a picture of you, if you see a picture of this man from freshman year, he's a different guy, different human. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Those losses I take, I definitely want to get back. And those kids that I've wrestled multiple times, say I didn't pin them the first time, I want to pin them the next. I just want to do better.
Yeah.
But you don't want to make it super personal. It's hard because once you make it become personal, then you start overthinking and kind of over trying.
Okay.
And that's like what I said, like I did in the state finals. You start trying a little too hard when it's all just wrestling.
You almost just have to stay calm, right? I remember I heard a podcast before. Joe Rogan was talking to this one guy who interviewed a UFC fighter. And he said that the whole time he talked to him, there was no anger in him. All he was just calm and like content. Is that how a majority of them are? Just calm?
Yeah, I mean, not all. There are some angry wrestlers. I mean, they kind of preach at my club, just stay calm, because
Siegel Wrestling, right?
Yeah,
Siegel. Okay.
Yeah, they kind of just preach this on me, just stay calm. It's just wrestling. It's just technique. It's just a single leg or a double leg. It's just that. So we try not to overthink it, and try not to make it personal because sometimes when you get that in your head, it'll psych you out.
Yeah. Now, talk about like how you put so much time into this, how you think about it so much. Where does balance come into play with your actual life? You have school. You like everyone does have their own life going on. Where's the balance in that?
Yeah, so I mean, I think balance is huge.
Yeah.
I don't think I would be here without the balance I have, with my friends, family. It's very important. I like to grind out a week of training, and then be able to go hang out with my friends later. You know what I mean? And I think that's huge because relationships are important, with your friends. It's just very important to have, and I think that's kind of what keeps me going. You know what I mean?
So like,
Yeah, I'll have a hard week, and being able to have something to look forward to maybe later in the week is what keeps me going. And then with school, when I'm dialed in training,
yeah.
when you're more busy with training, I actually do more schoolwork than I would when I'm taking a break.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's just like it's really weird when I'm dialed into season and eating right. When I'm doing everything right, I'm doing everything right.
You think everything's dialed in, it's not just.
I'm all in.
Yeah.
With everything, and then but the flaw is when I'm not super dialed in, I'm not eating right. Sometimes I'm not doing my homework to the effort I should be doing. Homework. I should be studying. And I find that when I'm 100%, I'm 100% with everything, and that actually builds confidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's eating is good for your physical body, but knowing that I'm suffering and hungry sometimes, and know that I'm doing everything right, that gives me confidence before I go out there in a match.
Okay.
And
so it sounds like wrestling like almost gave you a whole entire like different view on every aspect of life. Like it allowed you to put everything into everything you do.
right,
And that's all
exactly.
Yeah.
100% with everything. I work hard in school. I mean, now I have a little senioritis because we're pretty much done. But
yeah.
Work hard in school. Parents tell you to do something, give it 100%. It's just everything. I want to give it my 100% because I don't want to look back and regret it. You know what I mean?
You only live once.
That's my biggest fear, and this is something that I've heard from different podcasts I've listened to. Like it's kind of cool because these are mindsets kind of I built on my own along with like wrestling and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to look back when I'm older and be like, damn, I wish I would have took that extra run.
Yeah.
I wish I would have skipped out on those parties, or like I wish I would have worked harder in school, and I just want to make the most out of every day.
That's good, man. It's a good mindset to have.
I want to live presently, but I want to make the most out of every day, and I don't want to look back and have any regrets because you only have one shot at this.
Yeah.
You only have 4 years of high school, become the state champ or multiple time state champ you want, or become the best student athlete. You only have 4 years. I only have 4 years in college to be the best college student I can be.
Yeah.
So I don't want to look back and regret that.
So you almost look at it as like a long term. I brought this up one of the podcasts. Long term satisfaction, short term. You'd rather go for the long term. So like you said, you don't look back on it and you're like, why the hell didn't I do this? Why the hell did I do that?
Exactly.
Instead of the short term satisfaction, where if it's like, hey, if I don't make weight tomorrow, I'll be all right. If I don't do my homework, it's one homework.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get over it. Like you do go for the long term satisfaction at all times.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a good mindset to have, man. All right. Like you said, it's coming to an end. High school. You graduate tomorrow, right? What's your approach to the transition of college wrestling? How much different do you think that will be? And like, what are your goals also for college wrestling?
Yeah, that's something I was actually thinking about last night. I've been training at Seagulls, and I'm one of the older ones there. I do work with like older guys. Like a couple of them were Johnny Van Brill, Trace Kanner, Quinn Kanner, Toby Haig, Brennan Becker. They're all college wrestlers. Some of them are current college or previous college wrestlers who, the wrestling is different in college. It's a different level.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is supposed to be my senior year. Oh, senior, let's have fun. Let's have fun this summer, right? No, like it has to be my hardest summer of training.
Really?
It does. It's not going to be. I'm going to be wrestling a stud every match. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I definitely got to be training harder. It's hard to, I train really hard for like 4 months during the season. It's kind of hard. You really can't do that 12 months of the year. It's really easy to burn out. So I do give myself breaks. My coaches give me breaks. They actually tell me to lay off because sometimes I'm doing a little too much.
You're a workaholic.
Yeah,
I
love it. I love filling the schedule. I love working. But yeah, I have a tournament this summer, Fargo, which I got third at last year. So I'm going to be training for that, and I think the reason for me doing that is kind of to keep on task because when you don't really have something to prepare for, it's kind of hard to stay motivated. You can be disciplined, but it's hard to get in the room excited.
You may slack off a bit.
Yeah. So I think having that is going to help me, and then take some August off because that's what my coaches want me to do. But yeah, the transition's going to be different. Living on your own is going to be different. The freedom aspect of it. It's kind of keeping in line because my parents have always kept me in line.
You got to have a lot of self-discipline.
Yes, exactly. I think my parents did give me, they gave me some freedom to kind of do what I want. So I think I've kind of been able to create my own balance. For example, if there's a party one night and I know I have wrestling practice next morning, maybe I won't go to it. And that's my decision. You know what I mean? That's not my parents telling me to do that.
Yeah.
That's my decision. My whole wrestling career and motivation has stemmed from me. You know what I mean? Like my parents were very hands off, fortunately.
Okay.
And like I said, they've sometimes been like, let's chill out with all these practices. Let's chill out,
Dang.
So I think that's what's kind of different from me than other people is because my parents haven't really forced it on me. It's all self motivation.
There's no outside motivation, just like you said. It's all your own wanting to do all this.
Right.
I think that comes into play when you're in the moment matching or fighting, because a lot of these guys have a whole team around them who are motivating them, pushing them. Like they could have not been wanting to fight the night before. Like if they're on the deathbed and everyone around them saying, "Hey, come on, you could do this." For you though, it's just you saying that to yourself. It's just you. Yeah. Like approaching it that way, it's yourself motivating. So I think you have almost like leverage over the other guy because say you get in their head just like that. In the moment, those people around them are helping them.
Yeah.
Like same for you, but instead of all those people around you, it's yourself going into the match, not people around you. Exactly. I think that's a very great thing about you, bro. You don't depend on others.
Right.
Very good to have in the sport of wrestling, of course, because it's you versus you with one-on-one wrestling combat. I respect that, man. So, but what are some of the goals you want at Princeton? What are some of the things you want to accomplish?
Yeah, I'm school wise, I'm a little nervous for it.
You have a lot on your plate.
Right. It's gonna be hard. I'm gonna have to figure that out right away. I don't study like 3 hours a day. It's gonna be a lot of schoolwork, so that's gonna take some adjustment. But and then another thing, not wrestling wise, just making the most of the experience. Having a good time, but also making like a real network. You know what I mean? I want to meet as many people. I don't want to just be secluded to the wrestlers. I want to expand.
Be outgoing.
Right. So I want to definitely meet a lot of people because meeting a lot of people will bring many great opportunities and just good times. So definitely that. I'm a little nervous with that. I want to just try and make the most of that. I want to meet as many people as I can, because there will be great opportunities that come with that. And then wrestling wise, I mean, shooting for the stars,
Yeah.
There's no other way to live, I want to be a national champ. And, there's my coaches, they believe in me when I was a freshman, or, I want to say 8th grade, when someone told me I was going to be a state champ, it might have been like, oh yeah, I definitely can do it, but it was hard to believe. But then, I did it. So, and when I was in 8th grade, I was getting whooped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was losing to kids that weren't that great. So like, it's cool. And I might not be on the route to win a national title. The guys who are winning national titles are like 3-time state champs, 4-time state champs, right? But I still think I can do it. Why not me?
Yeah. Why? So do you think? Why not you exactly? Do you think you're in the same position as you were in 8th grade?
Right.
You think it's the same exact
similar situation where, oh, maybe your path doesn't align to be that.
Yeah.
I think I can do it. Because I'm not training my butt off for no reason just to be some mediocre college wrestler. I want to do something.
Now, saying that, knowing that everyone else is doing the same thing. So, like, if you have the approach of like, yeah, I'm going to put in this work. Like, why wouldn't I? Everyone else is doing the same thing. What stands out, do you think, about you other than these other guys?
I think persistence and just really believing it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the college guys will think the same way, but just being persistent with it. I think there are going to be a lot of guys, especially, it might be hard for me. You've seen a lot of guys it's hard their first year, and some guys they quit their sport.
Yeah. It's a hard transition.
I can't even say anything because I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
But, just being persistent and just always believing. And the reason why I do think I have an advantage is because most of the guys who were state champs were winning state champs and national titles as 8th graders. And, I was at the bottom of the ladder. I really was. And I had to climb it. And I'm excited to do that again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Start from the bottom.
Exactly. So I'm just excited to kind of hit the restart button and try and work my way up because it's fun. The process is fun. And I told you I watched Paul. So
yeah.
I heard Logan Paul say this. It's not checking off the goals on his list. It's the process of achieving them.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's like
that's what makes it worth living for.
the one quote where it's like if you look at the guys on the top of the hill and the man climbing the hill is way more happier because he's actually doing the work. He's actually pushing to get to the top of the hill. They say you always want to go back down and keep climbing. Never stay at the top and be comfortable because that's where they bite you in the ass.
Right. It's weird. Like when I won my state title, like the amount of time I spent thinking about and training for it. I loved it. I loved it. But then it's just like next day, what's next? You know what I mean? You think your life's going to be figured out. You still have the same problems you do back at home. Everything still the same. And you see many famous people and professional athletes talk about this too. There's athletes that I'm not saying that I do, but there's athletes who like struggle with depression and stuff because they think achieving a goal is gonna make their life 100% better, and then the second they do it, they're like, "What the heck? Why am I the same person?" Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's super interesting. Just I love the process. I love going to the gym in the morning. I love wrestling. So I just gotta love it.
It's just another moment. It does. It's like you said. Like it doesn't change anything. So to you, it's just like, let me get this moment out of the way and just get right back to work. Right. Now, with you talking about how you like the quote by Logan Paul from Impulsive, is there anyone that you look up to when it comes to wrestling or life in general that has to do with like your drive in wrestling? Like, is there anyone, like, for example, a lot of wrestlers may look at Jordan Burroughs because he's like, I heard the Michael Jordan of wrestling almost. Like, is there anyone you look up to? Anyone in general? Like, it could be like teacher, someone from Seagull Wrestling, it could be your mom, dad. Is there someone like that for you?
Not necessarily anyone in particular. I mean, I think growing up as like a middle schooler, definitely like the high school kids who were winning state titles, I thought they were the greatest guys ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I can name one like Quinn Kinner. I was wrestling with him last night at practice. Like, I thought he was the coolest dude ever. He's winning state titles. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be like that.
Yeah.
And now
you're wrestling.
We're wrestling head to head. I mean, I might have to wrestle him next year in college. So, I wouldn't say anyone specific. I mean, I look at guys like Jordan Burroughs, Kyle Snyder, Zane Rutherford. These are just all great wrestlers, and I do see what they're doing. And I'm like, okay, maybe I incorporate that. Like, for example, Zane Rutherford posted, this was during COVID, a workout, right? And I did it, and it was 1,000 push-ups. And you know what I mean? Like, and I kind of like to pull from everyone. You know what I mean? Like, I'm coachable, I guess. I'll take advice from others.
That's a good aspect to have.
Try to incorporate it into me. You know what I mean? I'm not the same as this person. I'm not gonna compare myself to one single person. I'm just kind of incorporating what everyone's got to offer, all the resources, and just incorporating it into the way I train and live.
That's a perfect way of living and training because not many people do. A lot of people are stubborn.
Right.
A lot of people like to do it their way or no way, but you rather take a little bit from each person and use it in your own way, and as an advantage. It's amazing to have. Not many people. A lot of people look at or look past that because their ego's too high. That's actually, let's talk. Like, how do you control your ego? Your ego, like I said, a lot of people think their ego's too high. They get overconfident. They think they're just going to walk in here and whoop some ass. But how do you almost stay grounded from your ego?
Yeah, I mean, I would say wrestlers are known to have egos. It's a combat sport. It's a one-on-one sport. One thing I don't do is I don't really talk work on people before a match. I won't say anything because it kind of creates a pressure on you. A build on pressure for other people too. Like, I'm not going to walk around and be like, oh, I'm going to win a state title. I don't like to talk about wrestling that much. People ask me, are you going to win it? I hope so. What I mean? In my mind, I do. I kind of keep it to myself. What I mean? I think the main thing is just keeping it to yourself because you don't want that pressure on you. I don't love it. I don't love to have people rooting against me because there are kids who say and do things that make them want to root against you. You know what I mean? Like UFC fighters, I'm sure there's many people that just chat, and you just want to see them lose. And, that's how you get people to watch the fight. So, I mean, I understand why you do it.
They're getting money for it, yeah.
Right, they're getting money. Mine's not money. It's just pride. You know what I mean? Winning state title, I mean, I'll get you a college offer, but it's pride, and, definitely it's the ego thing. It can get to you, but, I just let, my actions do the talking.
You like a lot of people walk the walk but don't talk the talk. You almost do both, but you keep it to yourself.
Right. And, also, I'm not I'm not better than anyone else.
Mhm.
You know, everyone has their own story, their own life, and kind of just appreciating everyone for like who they are. You know what I mean? I'm never gonna downgrade anyone or anything. You know, it's just because I do well in wrestling doesn't mean I'm better than someone else. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, I think I'm not better than anyone else. So.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, for everyone listening, I don't really know Ty. We just know each other through mutual friends. But I would have never thought you were like this because I know other wrestlers and they're not.
Yeah.
They're not like you, man. There's a reason you're different and you're walking a different path than them. But how much of a play did Siegel Wrestling have a play in your like outcome of a wrestler you are? Because I know my brother's wrestles, aunt wrestles. You have to have you wrestle for your high school, then you wrestle for a club. How long you been with Siegel?
So I started Seagulls in 6th grade.
Okay, and why them? Why'd you stick with them? What did they teach you? What did you take out of them that's so different and important?
Right. So fortunately, Seagulls is in my town, so it's right at my Clearview.
Okay,
So that's first off, it's local.
Yeah.
But going into it, I didn't know it would have such an impact on my life. You know, we really are a family. You know, I love my guys. I love being at practice just to see my friends. You know what I mean? You know, the main guy behind it is his name's Pete DiBiase.
Pete DiBiase.
DiBiase.
Pete
So-
DiBiase.
Yes.
Okay.
So I mean, he's kind of like a think of the Karate Kid, right? His what's his name's relationship with his what's the word?
Mentor. Or something?
Yeah, mentor.
Yeah, I know
right.
what you're talking about.
There's kind of like a mentorship there. You know, Pete's really close with a lot of the guys, and he's kind of been a mentor towards me.
Yeah.
Kind of just always getting on me. You know, he got me to go on this trip my freshman year, summer. And I think that's one of the other things that really, Fargo. You know, going there, I wasn't necessarily good enough to go there. I didn't place or anything, but just getting me there has helped me so much.
Excuse me, what? Like I see this Fargo when I was looking at for you. What is Fargo? Is that like a bunch of wrestlers from
Summer
the nation
Nationals.
come? Okay. I just
Pretty much
wanted-
summer nationals. It's crazy, like 100, 200 kids in a weight class. So yeah, it's the middle of July. Like not many kids want to wrestle in the middle of July, but they're all there. So yeah, that trip really changed my career. But yeah, I've been with Seagulls forever. A lot of kids hop from club to club. Like yeah, I'll drive somewhere every once in a while just to wrestle new kids. But Pete's always gotten college guys in to come in with us, and just really believing in what they're selling.
Okay.
I really bought into the system. I believed everything that they're teaching me, all the moves they're teaching me, all the workouts that we're doing. I really bought into it.
Well, it's working, huh?
And and it did. I wasn't a 5-star wrestler back then, and I'm not saying I'm a 5-star wrestler now, but I wasn't as great as I am now, and just I continually was getting better. You know what I mean? And it was working. So Seagulls is huge, and I've been with them forever. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna practice them until I go off to college. So yeah, it's definitely. I wouldn't be here without Seagulls for sure.
I love to hear it, man. It's a lot of good word about them. I'm sure they'll be very happy when they hear that. Now the question I'm about to ask you it could relate to wrestling. I ask every guest this. I forgot to ask Ojan, the first guest, but I've asked the others. What is one thing on this earth, planet, your life? What is one thing in the world that you think, or not even think? What is one thing in the world that you know is 100% real? So I'll give you an example. Like mine was, I always use it for example. The Egyptian pyramids were not just human made. Like everyone standing in this room, not just us made those. Like there had to be something. Like I don't care if it was like telepathically, if there was the pulley system, not just an average human made those pyramids. One of the other guests was nothing was real, like nothing. And I said, what about the present moment? Stumped them. What is one thing like do you think no is 100% real? And you can take your time on this. Yeah. So the question was, what do you know is 100% real in the world?
So it's interesting you bring this up because recently I've been not like rebelling against society at all, no, but kind of losing trust in what I've been learning. Sometimes when I go to the doctors, I'm like not necessarily 100% believing them like I used to.
Okay.
Kind of ever since all these issues with COVID and stuff, and one person saying this, one person saying that, it's kind of hard to believe anything anyone says anymore. It's really difficult. So, sometimes I'll even be at the doctor's and I'm like, am I sure they know what they're talking about? And
I know exactly what you're saying.
learning a wrestling move, I'm like, how do we know this actually works? And it's me trying. That's how I know it works. So I think a real thing is instinct. Kind of the instinct, kind of putting what you want first, and your instincts kind of take over.
When you talk about instinct, do you think does it relate to like your gut decision?
Yes.
You think like
and how you're willing to kind of just put everything away for that specific instinct. And you said, your friend brought up love, and I think, and I've seen this with friends. It's not the best thing, but second there's a girl in the equation, they're willing to kind of make everything work, put everything away for that person to make something happen with that person, or just it becomes a priority of theirs.
Because that love is there. So like you said, 100% for real for love, but your instance, it's instinct.
Yeah,
you think 100%,
and love falls into that category.
Yeah.
It's like my instinct to, I don't know, a door's coming at me and I move it out of the way. That's instinct. That's real. That's just something kind of we've been born with, and I don't know. It's kind of confusing, but
wow, that's another good one. They're all good, bro. They're all good. Yeah. I see, but I've never heard that one before.
And it's that way with wrestling. It was it was my instinct to hit a big move. You know what I mean? Like, where does that come from? I don't know. Like, I think about it. I'm like, why was I doing this at that exact moment? What made me do that?
Well, when you're in the moment in wrestling, this is probably why you said it, man, because everything is instinct in wrestling. I feel like everything's in the moment. Everything's like right on time. Everything's
back. I'm like, why? What make in just random matches? I'll be like, what? How did I know to do that? I'll look back at my film. I'm like, sometimes I know, but sometimes it's literally there's no thought behind it. My mind's blank, and I just do all these things, and I don't know where it comes from, but it just happens. You know what I mean? It's really weird, but it literally just happens.
Nah, dude, I think that was a great one for you specifically because you're a wrestler. I think that was a perfect one.
Right.
Yeah, I ask every guest that, so I just thought it was really interesting. Where was I going to go from this? Relating back to wrestling, because we've talked about a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. In wrestling, what do you think the biggest? I asked you about this out of the life lesson out of your final match this year, senior year. What's the biggest life lesson you took out of wrestling as a whole? Your whole life, because you've done it for so long, man. It's like a lifestyle to you now. What do you take from it so much? Like the best lesson?
I mean, obviously this is basic, but hard work and persistence can pay off. Obviously, it won't give you your end goal, but you can improve. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean, on a daily basis, and also that you can do whatever. You can be the hardest worker, and it might not work out for you. There's no guarantees, but I kind of just have found a joy in trying to attain those and trying to do that. And like I said, I found joy in it, and the main thing is just kind of giving it your all at 100%. And have there been times where I've done something like, for example, studying for a test, or no, I take a test, I didn't study, I didn't do well. I'm not upset because I didn't do well. I'm upset knowing I could have done well if I would have studied.
Yeah.
And it's that same way with wrestling, and it's that same way when I'm working in a business or hopefully running a business. Kind of just giving it your all. And wrestling it really is just all hard work. You know what I mean? And it's just we've always been preached that. And it does, because I've seen it with my friends. They've worked hard and it's paid off.
Yeah.
So I've just improving yourself as a wrestler and just as a person, you can improve every single day.
Is wrestling something you recommend to anyone? Like, are you going to put your kid in wrestling right away?
So, I mean, obviously, I do want to put them in it. I'm not going to force it on them, because I do appreciate my parents for not forcing it on me. But yeah, absolutely, I would recommend it for anyone. I mean, I will say, it kind of takes a different breed. You know what I mean? It really does. Like, some of the stuff that I had to go through and I've seen my friends go through wrestling-wise, like, I wouldn't wish on anyone. I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. So that's kind of, I wouldn't want anyone to go through, giving it your all and working hard, because, and it's kind of the same way in a lot of sports, but, the Kobe mentality.
Yeah.
I see that in myself and so many other wrestlers where, I don't know, it's hard. There's no guarantees, especially at the top level.
Yeah.
So it is, the cutting weight and all of that, it's tough, but I would definitely recommend it for anyone.
Well, because, I tell everyone, if you'll hear this in the podcast, people know this about me, out of every single sport, I 100% think that wrestling and like fighting, UFC, any like combat sport is by far the hardest because there's so many different aspects that play along with it. You know,
Right.
you like you said, mental wise, cutting weight. It all relates back to mental, but to me personally, all around from every aspect of a sport, wrestling and combat sports are the hardest by far.
And it goes back to accountability. If you're having a rough day in a team sport, you have your boys to get your back. You have your back. You know what I mean, and kind of spy you. But when you're out there on the mat, it's just you and the stress, and then the cutting weight. Like, I have a big game tomorrow. I can't just go eat a pasta dinner and carb up. You know what I mean? I have to work out again. You know what I mean, and not be 100%, but try and compete at 100%. So yeah, that's why it's different.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very interesting.
When you were talking about the pasta, this relates to the next question. I brought this up earlier in the podcast. When you're done going through hell, cutting weight, what's the best favorite meal you have right after? Like, there's got to be that one meal all you wrestlers got.
Yeah, no, I definitely, chicken parm.
Chicken parm.
Steak. Yeah, it depends. We go back and forth. But yeah, I always get these weird cravings. I actually love peanut butter, especially when I'm cutting weight.
I'm a peanut butter guy too.
Like, I'll literally scoop it with my finger, literally it's kind of gross. But peanut butter is definitely a huge craving. But yeah, no, definitely. And it's interesting because I do cut out mostly carbs during the season, but then the second I start eating carbs, it starts just sticking.
Well, it's because your body's not used to it. Like you said, you nearly go to ketosis. Like when you get carbs back in your body, and say you start drinking fluids, the carbs are like, oh shit, like here we go again. This is then sucks it in, keeps it in. That's why you wrestlers gain so much weight back right away. It's because you're tricking the body to think a different way than it already was.
Right. That's why I'm so heavy now, because I'm all of a sudden eating carbs and the body's like, what the heck? So yeah, definitely, chicken parm, steak.
Does that ever mess with you? Like when you get done cutting it, like how much weight what's the fastest, or how much weight have you gained in a quick amount of time?
Probably 12 pounds.
And how long? After
4 hours.
Wow. Yeah. Does that stuff get to you? Like,
no, I'm it's in my mind. It's like, obviously it's not necessarily scientific, but I have more energy now. You know what I mean? Like, if I can eat, if I can perform well without eating, I think now that I have fuel, I'll be good. But yeah, no, sometimes it's not the best. Sometimes you might feel a little lousy. Like, there's practices where it's fun to not eat, being able to eat good, unhealthy and the foods that you want. It's nice, but you don't feel as great training, and I don't like that. That's why cutting weight's a good thing, because you're eating right, and those are foods that fuel you. So that's a big thing.
Do you ever have fluids? Like I know a lot of the UFC fighters, right when they get done, they don't really eat. They just put fluids in their body right away. Do you put any vitamins, I guess you would say?
So a lot of people do Pedialyte. I don't do Pedialyte, because if it's a 2-day weigh-in, Pedialyte has sodium in it, so it kind of just sticks the water into you.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which is smart, because it's nice to have that water, but kind of need the water to go right through. But yeah, no, I coconut water.
Coconut water.
So yeah, I drink coconut water. I actually was drinking it every day. It's actually super expensive, but love coconut.
I don't think I ever had coconut water, bro.
It's either you love it or you hate it, but yeah, no, coconut water. It's a craving, you know what I mean? And
is there something in it, like
coconut?
Different
coconut water.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no, definitely coconut water is huge. And the thing with cutting weight, and you ask me after weigh-ins, right?
Yeah.
This is for anything in life, and this I was actually thinking about this before the podcast. This is something I like to talk about. I enjoy food way more because it's taken away from me.
Yeah.
One weight you can't have, right? So when I'm not cutting weight, eating a burrito from Chipotle is just mid. And then the second I cut weight and I eat that burrito, it's amazing.
You appreciate it way more.
Exactly. And I kind of do like cutting weight for that aspect, because I enjoy food way more than most people do.
Well, I'm sure, because you can't eat it. You can't eat it during the season. So damn right you would appreciate it,
right.
You know?
And it's that thing in general for life. For example, the first time you go on a boat ride, it might be the coolest experience ever. Then you start going on a boat ride every day.
Yeah.
It's kind of
you get used to it.
You get used to it. Then you want the yacht. You know what I mean? And then you want the next thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's that way with many different things in life. Like, for example, benching 225 for the first time. That was a sick feeling.
Yeah.
You know? And it's hard to get that. And
actually, I'm gonna pull something up that relates right to your topic. go on Instagram and let me see if he still has it up. J. Cole, you a big J. Cole guy?
I mean, yeah.
I love J. Cole. He has this, literally what you just talked about, how there's always one thing above. And there was a time where J. Cole like always wanted new stuff. He just got into money, like he always bought new things. Then he had like a deep realization. All right, go to Matt Delaney's Instagram, where he had a deep realization of like there's always going to be the next thing to chase. Like
I feel like I might have seen this.
you probably did. You know Matty. He's had this on since he was in middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably have.
I mean, you just see it with so many successful people. You know what I mean? And like I've heard people say, it's more about the relationships you build, the personal relationships. And that might be a real thing. You back to that question.
All right, bring it up after this. Bring it up right away. Go down all the way to the bottom. Right there. Yep. Yeah. Pause it. Get out of it real quick. Put the sound on. Bottom right corner. Oh. There we go. All right, we're good. But see what he's talking about? How there's no satisfaction. Like you always need the next thing above, next thing on top. That's exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've probably seen the valedictorian speech. I don't know. It's a viral video, and the guy said, like, look, like, I thought everything was going to be solved. I thought I was going to be the happiest man ever.
I know what you're talking about.
And he was happy for 15 seconds, and that was it. Like,
he almost regretted
what's next?
it.
Valedictorian college, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of just the relationships you build with your friends, family, and I think that's what's number one at the end of the day. I mean, that's where you find most of your happiness coming from.
That makes you appreciate life more, man. You always got like you accomplished that. That moment's always there, but like you said, it's just or like I said, like it's just an average moment. Like life keeps going on, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have relationships, family, friends, like all these people around you every single day to appreciate life as a whole way more.
Right, and this mindset's like where you're not supposed to be satisfied. It's preached to us. I think sometimes I wish I would have celebrated some of the victories a little more. Because, like, when I win something, like if I won that state title this past year, I don't think it would have been a huge celebration because I was not confident. I already was a two-time state champion in my mind. I really was. I just really believed it. And it was just shocking that I didn't. I think it's still shocking. I think, like, I'll literally think about it. I'm like, wait, did I actually lose that match? Because in my mind, I was already two-time state champ because I believed it so much. Every day I train, I believed it. And, I think celebrating those little victories with people around you are important. Like Kobe's someone like who he's big against that. But I think kind of just, take 10 minutes to just enjoy it and really appreciate it. Not just focus on the next thing. Focus on the present moment. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think just appreciating every single moment.
That's something I got to work on. I don't be like, when I do something, man, I'm like, next thing, go. Next thing, go. Like, the big thing, like when the end of the day comes, like, when I open my eyes the next morning, it's like, all right, here we go, back to work. Like, every single day. Like, of course, like, my work isn't wrestling like you, but, like, I had priorities. And it's a hard thing when having a girlfriend because, like, to me, like, I just always want to work. I have to, like, take time and actually, like, appreciate shit going on because, like, it only happens once. Like, the actual moment of it happening only happens once, so you might as well appreciate it. That's something, me personally, man, like, you saying that, I got to work on for myself.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes I even like fake it, like I don't even care about it because maybe that's a little ego thing. Like, why would I care that I just beat this kid when I know I'm better than him?
Okay.
Or why would I care that I got 100 on this test when I know I should be getting
like you knew that was happening? Yeah.
So I think just appreciating those because it's once that that exact thing's gonna happen. So definitely just appreciate it.
Hey man, I love you put that in a great way. You're putting a lot of good things in a great way. I think a lot of people are going to take a lot from this podcast, like they do everyone, but you're someone who's in a field that not many are in. Not I want to say a field, but a sport. Not many people do. It's hard to get in the group of wrestling and doing it so much over the years since you were 4, you said, like it's built you to the person you are today. Is there anything you want to talk about specifically on your end? Because I've like asked you a lot of questions. Is there anything like you want to talk about wrestling or anything that? Because
hit all the check marks wrestling wise, yeah.
Yeah, is there anything about life you want to like put out to the people? It's up to you, brother. I know it's on the spot, so it's hard.
I actually am curious your whole lifting. I mean, I kind of act, my lifting life and wrestling life are kind of two separate ones. They're kind of, I do stuff for wrestling lifting wise, but I kind of think lifting's slightly just a different part of my life. And I actually am just curious, like, what got you into it? Because I know you're.
Yeah, I'm huge into it every day. Every day, don't stop with wrestling or lifting. But sorry, I got into it high school. High school is when I really got into it. I was a skinny twig. Like I'll show you a picture of the podcast. But prep going in there when you see all these seniors, like these kids look like animals, like dogs. And instead of gym class, they have lifting class freshman year. Which like if that wasn't a thing, I would not have ever gotten the lifting. Okay. But so instead of gym class, they had lifting class, and I was just like, I want to look better, man. I want to put some muscle on. And the one thing that got me like hooked on it was pull-ups, because I guess that relates to calisthenics, which I later down the line got into. Because like if you're on a pull-up, if you're doing pull-ups, it's like I guess like wrestling, it's you against you. Like it's all up to you on that bar, as many as you can do, and that's what really got me hooked on it, because I could always do, like, since freshman year, like 20 pull-ups in a row. Just like no one else could do this. Like, might as well get better, But other than that, I stayed consistent with it. I wasn't really into the food. Like, I wanted to put on weight, so I ate whatever I wanted almost, but it was so hard to. And then quarantine hit, and I didn't have a gym, and that's when I really had to dial in. And I was like, I'm not going to get fat, sit around here. So I did research on food. I got very like into the science of food and what I should eat. And I had no gym, so I had to do everything body weight. So I learned all these different styles of like movements with my body, different stuff on the pull-up bar for core. I only do core on a pull-up bar. Besides planks, everything core-wise is on a pull-up bar, no matter what. Okay. I don't do sit-ups. I don't do that stuff. But when quarantine hit, I had to push myself to do this. There was no gym, so I had to do all body weight, got into food. Then, my girlfriend's neighbor, he made his own bench and like had weights that he got from his old gym. Like I want to say towards the end of quarantine, no gyms were open, and he said, "Be at my house every day at 4." And
no,
4 in the afternoon. Okay. He had work during the day. He said, "Be at his house every day at 4." I was there every day at 4, and mind you, like I knew how to lift, but I didn't know how to lift right. I didn't know like technical split. Like I never had a split until like I met this guy. Yeah. His name's Dan Dan McGrenahan. And every day I was there at 4. And I noticed that like when I got on the cycle of a split, like I saw progress. Yep. And then I did that with him for about 3 months because the school year started again. And now I saw that I was almost like ahead of the game with other people because I had this knowledge they didn't. And me personally, I just did my own thing. Now I tried a lot of splits. Hey, do you know what a split is? Yeah. Okay. I tried a lot of splits, and over like the past 2 or 3 years, like I found my own. So like I don't go by like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I just go by a simple day. So it goes chest. So each thing I say is a different day. So chest, back, legs, shoulders, arms, legs. And then I have a day after that where it's upper chest and shoulders. And then the next day is body weight. Okay. And then if I want to, the next day can be a rest day, but I don't usually like taking rest days unless I need it. But that's how my approach was to the gym. That's how I got into it. But the thing is, I recommend to anyone, even you, if you don't know much about splits, when you get on the groove, stay consistent with it and see the progress after a month. Sacrifice like a month out of your life and stay food. The diet is key. Eat right for a month and train right for a month with your split. And once you see that difference in a month, that's when I got hooked on it. And I just had the benefit of the fact that my friend group were all the same way. You know my friend group. There's like 5 or 6 of us, but we all loved the gym. And like, I guess being around 6 guys, it's almost like who's the best dog, you know? So, and people, like everyone, I don't want to say everyone, a lot of people in my friend group, and they all say like, we are cocky. Like, I'm not going to say that's not the question, but I think a lot of that has to do with all of us being around each other and just like lifting. And the thing is, we all lift different ways. So like Will Bump, he was very big in the CrossFit at one time. Me, I was very good with body weight pull-ups and all that, but I still had a little bit of muscle. Then Michael Barney could put up some weight, just like bodybuilding wise. And then Vin, he's all around like solid, like body composition wise, and he would just push all this weight. He could also do the CrossFit a little. He was just all around like was good in every aspect. Maddie, ball player, I actually trained him. Like, I don't want to get too much into this because we're getting off track, but me and him went hand in hand, and we transitioned each other to the people we are today. So like he built a lot of mindset for me, and I built a lot of his body for him. So we went hand in hand there. But just all of us being around each other all the time, I think was a lot of motivation for a friend group to be like the best, look the best. I don't want to say look the best, but be the best, like mentally, body wise. Like this is how we look. Might as well look the best, and push that weight because it's almost like therapy at this point. It's like I just go for therapy. Yeah.
I mean, you said the rest days. If I have a day where I don't do anything, I actually like kind of go insane.
Yeah, you don't feel right,
I just
right?
don't feel good. And like I always like to have a schedule. Like I like to be doing something at all times. I like to be with people at all times.
Like
I don't know.
busy. You like being busy.
I like being busy and like just not. I like to get my workout done early in the day just because like I don't feel right without it. And I find it interesting how you said like it's great that you had 6 of your friends because all my friends we all lift. We all but in our own different ways. I lift for wrestling, but like I said, it's also not necessarily for wrestling. It's just to look husky.
Yeah, like
it's fun.
I don't want to. It's fun. Yeah, it's fun to look that way, but like I don't want to say that and come off as like a little like
and
baby.
You
but
said people think you're cocky, and I honestly wouldn't say you guys are cocky because I don't think. I mean, I think people do understand. A lot of work was put into that, and say you're posting a picture on Instagram with no shirt on. It's like people can say stuff, but like at the end of the day, you guys put in the work for that. So I don't see any flaw in that. Like lot of work was put in, to look the way you are. I mean, mine was years. This is years of just working out, and wrestling, running.
You got to stay consistent with it as well. Like it won't just take 1 month. Like I said, like once you get that first month over with, then you start to see some progress. But you got to keep doing that month after month. And like you said, it takes years of work. Like it's like an art piece. You're working on this art piece for years.
Yeah, and it really is a therapy as well. It's just getting your day started right. You're right. You're on the right track. I just worked out. Now I'm going to eat healthy. Now I'm going to get all my tasks that I need to get done.
Yeah,
it's just the ability to complete a task, and that's what it is. At the end of the day, it's like a task.
It gets the day going because like you complete that hard ass task, and now it's like everything else throughout the day is just like a minor task. I feel like. Right. In my view, at least.
That's same.
Yeah.
Once I lift, like that's the majority of my day.
Yeah, I feel that 100%, man. That's like that consumes a lot of my day, and it's right. It sets the day right. Good tone for the day.
Right. So I definitely, I've written out plans for different people and stuff. Like I've tried to encourage so many different people to get in the gym because it does change your life. It might. Yes. The second you wake up, you look in the mirror. That like. That matters, Sometimes when I'm feeling bloated, I don't feel great about myself. You know what I mean? Like, people are, oh, Ty, you look good. Don't worry. Like, I want to look better.
Yeah.
I mean? Like, I always want to look a little bit better. But and I'm kind of contradicting myself because I do say appreciate. The
I think everyone will understand what you're saying, though.
But yeah, you always want to look better, and you do see results, and that's just extremely satisfying.
So it's very satisfying. They always say like the day you start lifting is the day you're always small, because every time you look in the mirror now you're like, I just want to get better. I want to look better. I want to be the best person I can be, like muscle wise, like self personalized. And I think I recommend that, and I'm sure you do to anyone. Like it does change your life. Like they say, like there's a certain high percentage of like billionaires or like millionaires to like a majority of these guys do some type of physical activity and work out in the morning because it's a good sets the tone for the day. Like I said, like there's a reason like so many of these high end, or I don't want to say because every person's equal, but like high standard in their fields are doing something that like they're all doing it. Something has to be right with it. If you get what I'm saying. So I think that's something everyone should do for sure. But you got to do it nutrition wise too.
Yep.
You can't eat like shit.
You got to be all in.
All in. Yep. You can't slack off in any aspect. But Listen, man, that was a great ass conversation.
Yeah.
I appreciated it more than ever. Is there anything else you wanted to go over before we ended it off?
It's all good.
Oh, solid?
Hit all the points.
Hit all the points.
Yeah.
Hey, I think everyone got to understand you and got to see your vision, mentality, everything, all about you in a very great way. Even myself, I didn't think you were going to be like this at all, man. I got a lot of respect for you.
Appreciate it.
I hope the best for you in Princeton. I'm sure I'll see you around the summer all the time.
For sure.
But yeah, any last words? Anyone you want to shout out, coach wise? It's off to you now, man.
Shout out to my mom and dad.
Mom and dad?
That's all I got.
Perfect. All right, everybody. Ty Whalen. If you want to reach out to him, he's on Instagram. You'll find him anywhere. Just look up the name. The Offscouring Odyssey, episode 4. Thank you so much. Peace and love. See you next time.